apologize for my voice now. It's a bit hoarse, but this war we had Herc, Titania, and Silk bands. Zemo Boss on Boss Island, Hulkling or Valkyrie work perfectly fine. Mojo, Cassie, or Quicksilver. Doom, I'd still use Quicksilver, but Human Torch as an option as well. Chavez, Cassie, or Quicksilver, and then Adam, Claire, or Hood. Shared Islands, Future Antman, you've got either Venoms and Hulkling. Absorbing Man, you've got Cassie and Quicksilver. Switch, you have, or Sigil Witch, you have Cassie or S99. Scorp, you can go ahead and use Quicksilver or Magneto. Rintrah, Cassie or Captain America Infinity War. And then Wiccan, Quicksilver, or Cassie. Photon, you've got Mantis or Crossbones. Apocalypse, you've got Nimrod and Omega Sentinel. And then Bishop, you have Omega Sentinel and Viv. Path 1, I'd probably go with Tigra, Wiccan, or Rintrah for Omega Sentinel, and then bring Nimrod or Omega Sentinel for your 2 mutants, and then Quicksilver or Cassie for Sasquatch. And then path 2, bring your Hulkling or Gallon for Viv, and then go with your Decay option for the following 3, Cassie or Quicksilver. And then for path 3, probably go Hulkling and Gallon or Gallon, and then bring your Bleed Immune like Claire for Nimrod or Nebula. 6, I would go with Shang-Chi or Jabari Panther for your 2 science options. Bring CGR, Omega Red, or Apocalypse for Killmonger, and then probably just easy Hulkling or Nebula for Warlock. Path 5, Thing, either go with Valkyrie or go with anyone that you're comfortable with and just count rock stacks. With Infamous, Doom, or Iron Man, I would use whatever counter there, like Gallon or Hulkling for Kingpin as well, and then bring Cassie or Ant-Man for Maw. And then path 6, Domino is pretty much going to need Nimrod, Omega Sentinel, Viv now, and then you can use Viv or Iron Man or Omega Sentinel for Section 2, and then bring Gallon or Hulkling for Penny. Path 7, I would probably go with Omega Red or Apocalypse the whole way. Path 8, probably bring Rintrah, Tigra, or Wiccan for your 2 Cosmics, and then bring Quicksilver or Cassie for Juggernaut, and then your counter for Fury, so Archangel, Omega Red, the such, Toad. And then path 9, bring your Silk option, bring your Decay option, your Sugar Pill option for Section 2, probably Cassie or Quicksilver, and then go with Omega Red, Omega Sentinel or Nimrod for Omega Red, and then Crossbones or Jabari Panther for Quicksilver. So that does it for defense. Let's take a look at attack. All right, so we're behind on war videos, so I'm going to try and catch up one a day. But here we took in Omega Sentinel, Cap, Infinity War, and Hulkling took path 2 and went with 3 shared fights, 1 mini boss, and the boss. So starting here on path 2, taking Vivian with Hulkling, pretty simple fight. We're just avoiding the power drain or burn, whichever one she actually is coded to call it. Building charges, going unblockable, hitting her with a big special 2. And there, she threw her special 1 immediately as I backed up. So kind of unfortunate, but it's okay. Can't get this third one down, so we block that since it's unblockable, or since it's blockable, and then line up our special 2 here and finish her off quick. The next fight is to start using Cap, so Silk being banned and me not having Quicksilver off defense, it was enough for me to kind of practice someone else. So I went with Cap since I haven't met rank 4 and max sig. So synergies worked out too to get an armor break thrown in and a petrify. So it's literally just a parry heavy fight, all war, build to the special 2, heavy cancel into special 2 after the first hit, and then rinse and repeat. And then a lot of this war, I try my best to never trigger dexterity, not because of the mystic dispersion aspect of it, but because if I don't have slow on, which I will the entire fight, but in case there's a drop in slow, I don't have the dexterity buff leading to an unstoppable. So next up, Spidey Supreme. Again, this parry heavy works out perfectly. We keep him from phasing. But yeah, I mean, it was really refreshing using Cap. He is a complete animal with this tactic and was a lot of fun. And it was quite interesting taking on the challenge of don't trigger dex, so parry everything or block everything, on top of fighting a stun immune that we could heavy retaliate. So we'll get to that. But you see here, Spidey going down super easy. Here's our special 2 and done. Big ol' hit. Big ol' crit. The next one I was a little, I wouldn't say concerned about, but the focus on not triggering dex even higher here, just because I'm going to be dealing with shock. So shock immune, or not being shock immune, is definitely going to wear on this fight. Although now that I'm thinking about it, and I haven't tested it, with all these debuffs here, the shock should actually do no damage. So it actually probably wasn't a worry triggering dex, now that I think about it. Anyways, here's the fight without triggering dex. So I let him throw a special 1 so that we could get to special 2. I block all of it, parry some of it if I can, keep him armor broken so they can't build any gas. Makes these phases of his really short. And then get to the special 2 and finish the fight with a 95 casual crit. 95,000. We move on to the shared fights. Omega Sentinel only came for this fight. And yeah, this should be a really simple, really easy fight. You know, we don't get too pretty with it. After we knock him down, we decide to throw special 2. We're not really worried about Plasma being the damage dealer here. So I take every opportunity to knock him down. And as long as you dodge every special or block what you should block, blah, 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 you should be good with this fight. But yeah, there's going to be a special 1 from Apocalypse, where when he throws it, he covers the distance, which is pretty normal. If you're watching these special ones now, he does that quite often. And I'm fine with that, but after I block the first couple of hits, I, like a silly head, try to dex out so that I'm not taking excessive block damage, which wasn't a problem, and I end up eating the remainder of special 1. So I don't think it's this one. It might be. No, it's after this special 2. So we get his special 2 out, perfectly fine. We dex, out of range. Push him to special 1. He throws and covers, and right there my block just dropped, because I was apparently trying to dex back. And we die, instantly. So we go in to clean up. Who would have thought? Aggressive prowess and recoils on, and Apocalypse is going to just nuke your whole existence with a special attack. Silly mistake, doesn't cost the war, not really actually concerned, as you can tell by the end of the videos, whether we win or lose. And sure, dying's not fun, but at least it doesn't hurt as much way down here. So, especially with the fight load I give myself. I'm just taking everything. Or trying to, at least. Down goes Apocalypse. Next shared fight. Future Antman here, taking it with Hulkling. This is obvious. We bypass Burden of Might. We bypass a lot of future Antman's abilities. Because we're Hulkling, we just don't build power as quickly. One factor I did kind of forget about is that if we hit future Antman hard enough, he is going to trigger a regen. And that regen matters for Reinvigorate on this node. So there is a potential that we end up with an unblockable future Antman, but as long as we are sticking to baiting out Special 1 and not pushing him into Special 2, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Special 1 just being a lot easier to dodge than Special 2. So going pretty well here, just trying to build this our first Special 2 and have it unblockable for double Furies, and then accidentally throw a Special 1 because there is a lag behind on our power gain. We are actually not gaining power with how many buffs we have from our combat power rate. We are only gaining power from using our shape-shifting charges. So there's a lag or a skip or whatever between the frame where you hit and then the frame where you gain power. That's why after I threw Special 1, I had another Special 1 immediately ready to go. Made this fight longer than it needed to be, but still a pretty easy fight. The next shared fight was probably the one I was most excited for, and it's taken this stun immune hazard shift Rintrah with cap. So here the whole game plan was heavy retaliate, Special 1 retaliate, parry block everything. Just really build the debuffs. You know, we've got easy access here with parries, placing debuffs so that we can get ourselves DOT resistant to this hazard shift, and we should just heal the whole time. But yeah, this was the magic of the fight, pretty much. Thought this would be a lot harder to do, a lot harder to execute. Same kind of thing, we're avoiding decks this entire fight. We actually end up with a Rintrah that is willing to throw special attacks while you run at him or idle walk at him with your guard down. There we go, we got a dex right there. Not a big deal though. Wither takes care of the power gain. And yeah, this actually ended up being really smooth. Felt pretty good. Felt nice taking in a unique decay option from what I've been using this season, which has pretty much all been silk. And actually, as before I started making this video, I just pulled her as a 7-star from the Titan Crystal. So as long as she doesn't end up perma-banned all season, she's going to get a lot of work in. Almost done with this guy. It's been pretty smooth. Not going to get to another Special 2 to finish it. Parry. And down goes Rintrah. So, satisfying fight. Up next, we have our only mini-boss fight. This Mojo here on Conflictor. So, wasn't too worried about this. We are overloading this node with debuffs. So, Conflictor should be pretty much always on cooldown. So the only way this would go south is if we get too unlucky and every time we parry, the parry gets eaten or the stun gets eaten. But same thing here, I'm trying to avoid decks, but that's because I don't want to take degen. But again, as I said with Mysterio, that damage is going to be absolute zero with how many debuffs we have on this node. On top of that, Wither is taking care of Conflictor power gain and Mojo's anti-life power gain from completing a prompt. There's our big old crit. And go in to do a full combo. Let him get out of that. Back to parry heavy. Notice that the cooldown was not up for Conflictor, so we didn't attempt a heavy there. And then down went Mojo. So pretty simple fight. And then Zemo here. Yeah, I think I've done this twice. Taking a Zemo Boss with Hulkling. I mean, when you're going to take a guy that you're not going to block all the time and you're just going to bait special ones, why not use the guy that has easy access through unblockable attacks and actually benefits from hitting into block? So that's where using Hulkling or Valkyrie would probably be my go-to for a stun immune Zemo, especially since neither champion actually relies on a heavy debuff load. And I say heavy because they both have Infuriate, but I tend not to use those debuffs. So this one does not go as smooth as the other one. There were a couple instances, I think at least one, where Zemo caught me dashing back, I want to say. But I end up blocking because at my health I would have died. So yeah, this was the fight. This was the end of my war. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hit subscribe, give it a like. And as I said, I'm behind on war videos, so expect one tomorrow for War 11, and then Wednesday for the final war of the season. And then thanks, if I don't say it in the other two videos, for following along this season with the uniqueness compared to all my other war videos being in tier 4 as opposed to tier 1. So hit subscribe, give it a like, and I will catch you guys at the next war.